I just think she had expectations like we all do in life, and just some things that she thought maybe she'd be married, have kids.
Because she wanted to be married.
Yes.
She wanted to have kids.
I think everybody does.
Yes.
Those are normal things that every girl dreams of.
I remember being on the phone with my dad, and it's just like, you're hearing the nurse ask, like, it just felt so unreal.
Well, if you're enjoying Table Talk, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Remember to click that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest posts.
Well, you know, sometimes life brings unexpected moments, deep losses, and grief that feels too heavy to bear. But today's guests are here to remind us that even in our most broken seasons, we still have hope. But before we get to that, joining me around the table is the hope dealer that I know, April Simons.
Yes.
She calls herself the hope dealer.
I do. I try, because we all need hope. This is going to be a great show.
We do.
Yeah.
Anna Kendall,
Yes.
how are you?
I am just great, and I love the fact that we're going to talk about hope and coming through grief. None of us want to, we all experience grief, but we don't want to get stuck in it.
Right. We don't want to stay there,
That's
but
right.
it is a process.
It is a process.
Rachel
and
Lamb
we must
Brown?
go through it.
That's true. How are you doing?
I'm good. Grief is a hard one. It's like a megaphone in your head that nobody else can hear but you, and it's just triggered at random times. You never know when it's going to come, and so I'm glad we're going to talk and give people hope today.
That's good. Rebecca Lamb-Weiss, how are you?
I'm always happy to be right here next to you.
Here you are, right here next to me. You don't have to be in grief. You can be in joy.
Yes. And you can have joy in the midst of grief, and grief is a process, and it's hard, and I don't think you really understand it until you go through it.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Kendra Kelly Dean, I talked about earlier that one of my really first great losses was my grandfather when I was 14, because I was very close to him, and he was a great musician, and I had a great connection with him, and I'd spend a lot of time, and it was just, he had a cerebral hemorrhage. It was like quick. And I just remember standing there crying at the funeral home, but it was really grief. And I mean, that's a process you have to go through, and you don't know when it's going to hit you.
And the thing is no one gets to tell you how to grieve. You just do it with the Lord.
Yeah.
And he'll pace you through it, and he will comfort you through it. He's so faithful that way, but we all have to have hope.
He really is. Laurie and Sam Kelly are here.
We are so excited to be here.
Yes,
Thanks for
we
having
are.
us.
Welcome to the table.
Such a beautiful couple.
They are. Sam is a little outnumbered.
Yeah, I am.
I am.
I'm at the girls' table today, but it's going to be a good time.
But he has a girl.
That's true.
And he deals in youth.
Thank you.
You have a lot of girls in youth ministry.
Oh, yeah, youth ministry, and we're loving it. It's awesome.
I love it. I love it. Well, of course, from the heartbreaking loss of their sister to the miscarriage of their daughter, Laurie and Sam Kelly have seen God take their deepest pain and turn it into purpose. And today they're here to share how grief can become the very ground where faith can grow stronger. It doesn't always preach well, because actually the Bible has a lot to say about, it's in the valley that we grow. It's that refining fire of storms and turmoil and things that we go through in life that make us stronger. And I found that when these kind of things happen, either we are propelled closer to God or people run the other way. So for you, Laurie, growing up, both of you PKs, in a strong Christian home, it was really shocking losing your sister. Take us through that.
Yes, it was such a shock. Like, family functions obviously look different. And like, I remember our Christian counselor, I love Christian counseling, it's helped so much, but he said, this event will be a before Lee Beth died event and an after Lee Beth died event. Yeah. It's that big. And I feel like we've definitely felt that. But like, God's faithfulness, like even this past Sunday at church, Sam, alongside my dad, who's a pastor, and then his dad is a pastor, got to baptize our son. Aww. And it was the best Sunday, but it was one of those moments in a split second, I'm like, I am so thankful for the firm foundation in Jesus and that in doing the mundane and doing it with Jesus. And yes, we've been through heartache, but like, look, like God smiles and God is so kind.
That's so good. Was that thunder that got back?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about thunder in a minute. Be careful what you name your kids. Okay. So let's go back and tell us a little bit about Lee Beth. She was the oldest.
Yes.
I know she had a great sense of humor.
She had a great sense of humor.
She made everybody laugh.
Yes,
She
she was
did.
super funny, really creative, and like had a hard work ethic.
Leader. Yeah.
Leader.
Strong leader.
So, and it was like, I feel like you and her had the same humor, which is like, we all did, but like, y'all would always joke at every family function together. But she was super fun, definitely like a firstborn. And so she's 8 years older than me, and my twin sister 6 years older than my brother. So she was definitely like paved the way.
Big gap.
Yes, and paved the way for all of us. And so, yes, so close to her. And so just, it was just the biggest shock when she passed away. And you hear of things happening to people, like especially growing up in a Christian home, like you hear, like being in ministry, bad things happen to good people.
Right.
You don't think it's gonna be you.
And you're a pastor's kid, and so you kind of feel like this veneer to pretend like everything's okay.
You kind of
and
have like an
something that
imaginary wall of
happens.
protection around you.
Yes,
like, okay,
exactly.
this can't happen to us.
Yeah.
Because everyone's watching you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're watching to see how you handle it.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back and talk about kind of what happened that led up to this. Because Lee Beth loved God.
Yes.
But
worked at the church.
Worked at the church.
Yes.
And but she got involved in a relationship. Talk a little bit about what happened with that.
So she got involved in a relationship, was dating a guy that just wasn't great, and introduced her to things that she'd not been introduced to. And so they broke up, and it was really hard on her. And she struggled with depression, anxiety, kind of growing up. And I just think she had expectations like we all do in life, and just some things that she thought maybe she'd be married, have kids.
Because she wanted to be married.
Yes.
She wanted to have
I
kids.
think everybody does.
Yes.
Those are normal things that every girl dreams of.
Totally. And so we all have those expectations. And so I think that breakup was just so hard for her, and she leaned to alcohol for the first time.
Which she hadn't even been a part of her life.
No.
But that door was opened. I always want to say, you never know when you open a door, whether it's to alcohol or drugs, or pornography or whatever. When you crack it open so many times, you don't know if there's going to be an addiction that will follow. But she was in pain, so she went to something to try to relieve the pain, right?
100%.
And then it turned into, so what happened with her?
So in 2021, January 19th, so she went through some binge drinking, which is even more dangerous than if you're just drinking
So
every
it wasn't
single
like she
day.
was drinking every day, but she would, which would be really hard on her body.
Yes. And so I remember there was multiple episodes, but a doctor said, if you do this again, you're gonna die. And of
So
course,
why is that? Because you ingest so much alcohol?
Yeah, apparently your body builds a tolerance if you do it daily, and if you don't, when you just binge drink it, it just comes in and literally acts as a poison, which is what it is.
Because she had some of these episodes, but you guys actually helped her and your mom and dad get into rehab, right? And she was doing really good.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she turned the
from
corner
like
and
March of 2020 on, like she was doing great. We don't know when she started kind of relapsing, but we imagine it was like around the holidays, as those were just difficult for her and are for so many people.
And she lived by herself.
And she lived by herself. She lived 5 minutes from us up the road, and she struggled. And so I think Christmas came, and then January 19th of 2021, I get a call that she's relapsed. And we kind of wondered that.
And COVID didn't help, by the way.
No.
All the
She actually
isolation.
was isolated. She was quarantined. And so that did not help her.
How did you guys know that she had relapsed?
So just things like at Christmas that she wasn't acting normal, or maybe you would get angry at a certain thing that you're like, oh, you're not acting yourself.
And then we had gotten a phone call from Laurie's parents to say, hey, we just got a phone call from one of Lee Beth's friends. She didn't sound good on the phone. Could you go check on her?
Yeah.
And so we went over, and again, we knew that she had an addiction. We knew that there was a struggle there, but it was at this moment where it became real for us. So we go to the house, I knock on the door, there's no answer, and I'm like, we know she's in her car was here, so I'm like walking around the house trying to see if I can peek through a window and just see through the tiniest little crack in the window that she's what I hope hope in the moment is just unconscious on the floor. And so I go back out to Laurie and say, hey, Laurie, I think it's gonna be best if you go home. I'm gonna call 911. Lee Beth needs some serious help. I ended up having to kick down the door, calling out to Lee Beth, and she just in a drunken stupor is slowly coming to. And we were able to clean her up, get her help, and she agreed to go to rehab, which was a big moment for her.
Yes.
And again, that's where the recovery process started to begin. She did well, and then in January of 21.
Insight, like after that incident of like where her head was at or why she was turning alcohol?
I don't remember her like saying exactly, but like she would admit, and she would go through the 12 steps. Obviously, you're going through the 12 steps program, and I know each step was obviously, as you can imagine, an addict, very difficult for her, but she went through the steps. Like I remember she asked for forgiveness for each of from our family members. So there's some, like, we have letters of that, and like, those mean so much to me. But yes, and I think just her birthday was in October, and I think that was a hard time coming back from rehab, and she's turning another year older.
And still doesn't have her life like the person, and she's going to get married.
Yes, totally.
You know, take us back to that day, if you will, because I know that your dad was there.
Yes.
And she actually, I guess, he got her.
Yeah, so fast forward from that incident with Sam and I after rehab, and then the following January 19th of 2021, my dad gets a call, or they'd like talk, and he's like, Lee Beth's not well. He goes to her house, picks her up, and she's obviously not well. It's a mess, and takes her to his house. My mom's out of town in Columbia, South Carolina, taking care of her mom at the time. And so my dad's just cleaning her up, helping her get sober, just with everything, and talking to a therapist, getting insight, and she ends up staying in our like playroom kind of guest room at my parents' house, and my dad goes to study in his office.
So she's just like right there.
Yes, right there.
He went to go prepare for the message.
25 steps away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like he literally kissed her on the forehead right before he went to his office. He like prayed for her, Lee, it's gonna be okay, God's got you. And went to his office and was writing a message on Abraham and Isaac, and literally wrote, Abraham laid down Isaac on the altar, and heard a noise, and he yelled for her and said, Lee Beth. Didn't answer, ran in, and she's essentially gone. Like we did CPR, everything. Wow. They did, my brother and sister-in-law were there, and she's a nurse, so which I'm thankful, because you always say, what if, and like there was a nurse right there. And did mouth-to-mouth, and ambulance comes, she goes to the hospital, the faintest heartbeat comes just for a little bit, and then there we are on FaceTime, because it's during COVID, saying goodbye to her. And it's just
And you all
shocking.
sang
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
And Sam let us.
Yeah.
But the doctors were saying this is really bad.
Yes, and like, because at first, like I'm like, oh, she relapsed. Like I didn't even text her that day, which again, you can always say like I should have, could have, and I've gone through that process. Like I should have done this, but what's happened. But you know, you just wish that I would have texted her, but and now she's made whole in heaven, and I'm thankful that, you know, she knows all of our hearts.
Well, I mean, and you're still praying, like when she's in the hospital, you're like, God, raise her up, and we've seen you do miracles.
100%. And so Sam was there, and we prayed, but it just felt so unreal. Like I remember being on the phone with my dad after, because my mom wasn't there, and I was gonna meet him when he came home from the hospital, and it's just like, you're hearing the nurse ask like, okay, what's time of death? Like all these things, and I'm like, my dad's talking about his daughter, like, and watching my parents walk through that, it's something that like no parent should bury their child. And so I want other moms to know, like, you might not think anyone's watching, or dads, but your kids are watching you. And I got a front row seat to watch my parents walk a journey that is so difficult, but they did it so beautifully alongside God, and they're still doing it.
And
it's
even
the rest of their
them
life.
deciding to share it, because they don't have to share the details of it.
And I remember
because your mom was right on here and shared the whole story. And it was so moving and so
it's
touching.
their heart just to continue to help people, and maybe it's people wrestling with addiction, maybe it's people wrestling with loss. Their hearts from the jump, which is pretty incredible, was just how can we see God use this?
And there's like another layer of that, like being a public family and, you know, being on the platform and like, what are people going to say? And are people going to judge you? And I mean,
people say the right thing and the wrong thing.
I'm like, I want you to talk to me about it, but I don't want you to talk to me about it.
I think that's what made it so real, because I was in church the day that they talked, y'all's church the day they talked about it, and it just made it real. You know, this happened to us. We're hurt. We're devastated. But everyone in the crowd could feel the pain.
Yes.
The reality, and you're real people, and you had a real heartbreak. And thank God you had God on your side.
You know, and another important point I want to say here is that Lee Beth loved God.
Yes.
And so some of you watching, you know, you may have lost a family member that loved God, and maybe there was a battle going on, and it didn't end the way you thought it was going to end. It doesn't take away from the fact that God's love and mercy is there.
Amen.
Right.
And that Lee Beth is with the Lord.
Yes.
And no, nobody wanted to see her go through what she went through, or the relapse, whatever. But the struggle was real, but she was always struggling towards the Lord.
Yes.
Her flesh was weak, but her spirit was strong.
The battle's over.
The battle's over.
And she's in heaven with
Healed and
Jesus.
whole.
She is. And it didn't end the way we wanted.
No.
Totally.
But we know God's going to be faithful, and you'll see her again. I think it's important to say that some people are like, well, you know, there are people that preach this, you know, gospel. Well, she probably didn't make it to heaven because she, you know, whatever. And that's just not true. God's grace and his mercy, when you invite Jesus into your heart, you ask him to forgive you of your sins, it's a done deal.
Amen.
Okay? And you may have struggles, you may make mistakes, but you can get back up again. And I want to tell you that today, encourage you with that. But somebody needed to hear that. How important is it for people to understand that? You don't just make a mistake and God drops you.
It's everything. We're all sinners. And like, I think in our humanity, we can be like, oh, this sin's way worse than this sin. But we're all sinners in need of a Savior.
Oh, and it's what I love about the Bible. The Bible's not a highlight reel. Look at the people who God used. They were messes. You look at David, you look at Moses, you look at all these. And I was reading something recently that said God saw them in the midst of their mistake, and he smiled. And he didn't smile because of the mistake they made. He smiled because they knew who to turn to when they made a mistake. And there's so much power in just going back to God.
That's good, so good. Well, stay right where you are. When we come back, we're going to talk about Laurie and Sam's miscarriage.
Some books deserve to be held, cherished, remembered. This one is more than that. It's a place to meet God. The new Bible and Journal Bundle is designed to help you slow down, reflect, and listen. Paired with a journal that gives you space for your prayers, your questions, and your journey. Get yours today for just $29.99 at jonilamb.com/Bible, or call now to order.
Well, we've been talking with Laurie and Sam and just really taking us through the loss of your sister, Laurie, and what a moving story. And I hope it's just encouraged so many of you that are watching. But here you are in 2020, and then in 2021, you get some good news. And what is that? Because you got two boys.
We do. We get the good news that Laurie is pregnant with our third. And so in the midst of the loss, the grief, the pain, there's this glimmer of hope and glimmer of life. And so we have something to look forward to, which felt really, really good in that moment. And so Laurie went to her doctor's appointments, the routine checkups, and everything was good.
It's the third time around. You're like,
yeah, she's a pro. She's going to the doctor by herself. She's like, I don't need you. And I'm like, okay.
I was pregnant during COVID, so I was like, I can do anything by myself.
Yeah.
But we went to I went to my 14-week appointment, and they put the Doppler on my belly, just routine, 2 healthy kids, and the doctor looks at me and is like, I think the baby's hiding today. And I thought, oh. And she was like, let's do a sonogram. Would you like a sonogram? And I said, yes, I'd love a sonogram because you don't get a lot of those.
Right.
And so she left the room to get the sonogram room ready. And I just start thinking, oh, is that like a fancy way of saying like something could be wrong? Like what the doctor said to me. So I call Sam, kind of just scared and like thoughts running through my mind. And he comforts me. And I remember you prayed with me.
Yeah.
And kind of put me at peace, and I walked to the sonogram room. He tells me to call him when I get there, and I walk to the sonogram room, and she starts doing the sonogram, and I just noticed it was like a second too long just of silence. And I look at her, and she looks at me, and she says, Laurie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There's no heartbeat. And the first thing out of my mouth was, no, this cannot happen. My sister just died. like, this cannot happen. And she knew my sister just died. And she was like, I know, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I call Sam, and you're just, like, in shock. And Sam was, like, praying, I'm gonna pray for a miracle that God's gonna bring a heartbeat back to
Did you know it was a girl?
We didn't at that moment. So I'm driving to the doctor's office.
And I hoped it was a girl, even with Lee Beth, like, thinking, like, oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I like that story.
Yeah.
And so I get there, and she does the sonogram again and just says, guys, I'm so sorry. And because of how far along Laurie is, we're going to have you in the hospital and have you deliver this baby. And so I'll never forget going in and just seeing the strength of my wife. She's going into the delivery room, puts her hands on her belly, and just says, God, thank you for the gift of being able to carry this baby for 12 to 14 weeks. And I just remember just being an absolute wreck. She delivers our beautiful baby, and the doctor says it was a girl, and we named her Daisy Joy Kelly.
And you got to hold her?
We did. We got to hold her.
So how big was she at that? You said she was
literally
about the
in
size of her palm.
Yeah.
And just held her in a blanket, and it was, I remember her being placed in the place where they weigh babies and just looking and thinking of all the things that I don't get to experience with my baby girl. I don't get to see her go to her first day of school. I don't get to experience her going to prom and all the rest of it. And just feeling like, again, as a pastor's kid, like, God, where are you? We have spent our lives serving you, building your church, and these are the cards that we're dealt. And yet in the midst of it, there was always the anchor to our soul of, God, whatever this is, whatever we may or may not understand, we choose to cling to you even through the question marks.
Yes, and why was, like, a huge question, and still is. Like, I think in our humanity, we want to know the reason for everything. But
I don't think that we'd always like to hear the answer.
You're right.
100%.
And I don't think we always do get an answer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but that, again, is where it really is pivotal in that we decide whether we're going to trust God through this or not.
Exactly.
Whether we're going to be faithful to Him.
No matter
and trust Him, no matter what the circumstances. You all both came to that conclusion. And what were some of the right things people said and the wrong things? Because I think it's important.
Oh, God.
You know, there's some times where I'm like, Sam, I think if someone told me they were praying for me, I'd be mad. And I think if someone didn't tell me they were praying for me, I'd be mad. I'm sad and I'm mad.
Or I just want to hug you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
yes. And I'm like, but, you know, I think, and I've said this, I think even being a pastor's kid, you feel like you grew up in this perfect home. We did not grow up in a perfect home, but it was great. But you think, like, I'm not adequate to talk to someone else about what, like, if they're going through something hard, like, who am I? And this has made me realize what's important. Like, you can say, I feel like some people will be like, if there's any way I can help, let me know. Just do something. Do the meal, pray for the person, and that's what people did to us. I remember someone dropped a huge box of toys for our kids off at our front porch, a Connect group in our church. That was huge because my kids were going through stuff, and I was, and they just dropped off that, and that was, like, huge for us. But
yeah, make food.
Yes,
totally.
make food.
Yeah, but don't say, God's got another little angel.
Yes.
Or you can have another baby.
I think it's probably especially hard, I mean, especially with the loss of your sister, but that it was your girl finally, because you had 2 boys.
Yeah, it was. It totally was. And
he like wanted 2 boys and a girl. Like, he always told me that, and I was like, oh yes. And then I actually pictured 3 boys, and then we lost her, and I'm like, I want a girl so bad. God, I want a girl. Like, and what's really special is, we delivered her February 28th of 2022. August 26th of 2022, we're like mourning because it's Daisy's due date. That was when she was supposed to be born.
Right.
And so I remember driving, and I was just sad that day, but I saw a rainbow in the sky, and I promise you it was not raining. And I just saw a rainbow in the sky. And I was like, Sam, I feel like I might be pregnant because I just saw a rainbow in the sky, and, like, this could be our rainbow baby. And sure enough, I got a pregnancy test and we were pregnant. And we later find out that it's a girl, and so now we have Bowie Sunshine Kelly, and she is sunshine. She is God's kindness.
She's a force.
Yes.
she is a force.
When you have 2 older brothers.
Independent young girl.
Wow.
Yes.
So you have sunshine and thunder.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All the earth
Yeah, that's
stuff.
true. We just like weather.
What is it that touches you so much, Kendra, about this?
It's just God's timing, especially in our suffering, is always so gentle and beautiful.
Yes.
And I'm just really proud of you guys for not giving up hope, but just trusting him in your pain and in your grief, and just being willing to accept the blessing that he gave you.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people can get so stuck in their pain that they do lose hope, and they don't think, oh, God, he doesn't see me, doesn't hear me. And sometimes we miss the blessings that he's trying to show us because we're so stuck in our hopelessness, if that makes any sense. But he's just so good if you just surrender your grief to him and say, I just want what you have for me.
What would you guys say to someone who's like currently walking through the valley and they're still in the storm and they can't see maybe that rainbow or that sunshine yet on the other side?
I think the first thing that I would say is whether you feel it or see it or not, God is with you. The psalmist reminds us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and we serve a God who is familiar with suffering himself. I go back to the Garden of Gethsemane, and if you feel like you're living in unanswered prayer, you're in a club that Jesus was a part of, seemingly as he prayed, God, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Yeah. And I say that it's in that seemingly unanswered prayer that we experience the greatest good in all of human history, that we can sit here and be in a relationship with Jesus. Yeah. And so whether your prayers get answered the way you think or not, God is with you. And if you trust him, you will see his faithfulness. So and we have the hope. Paul says we don't grieve like other people grieve because we understand this is just the dress rehearsal. There's eternity waiting for us all.
And I would just commend you guys too for not giving up and giving into hopelessness and not allowing yourselves to be offended at God, but pushing through all the suffering and the hurt and being able to come out the other side and look at all that God has done and working it all together for the good. And your testimony is so powerful and so strong because people need to hear not to give up and to keep trusting God, even when life in those moments makes no sense.
You know, and we all said that Lee Beth was there to take little Daisy Joy.
She's my favorite picture.
I'm taking care of that.
She's showing her all the cool parts of heaven.
I love it. That's the
I love that. Well,
that.
you know, you say, I don't know about your theology, Joni. That's okay. You don't.
That's the mental picture I have, too.
That's the visual that I have anyway. But we are out of time. But I want you to remember that God is faithful even in our deepest grief. You know, this lifetime is just a stepping stone to the life to come. It's just a vapor. Eternity's a long time. We're going to see Lee Beth again. They're going to see that baby girl. And the Laurie and Sam story reminds us that we don't have to hide our pain, but we can give it to Jesus. He's the only one who can bring healing and really give purpose. And he can take a situation like that, and as bad as it was, he can turn it around and use it for good and help other people. And that's why we share it with you today, because we want you to know that God isn't through with you yet. And if you're struggling with an addiction, we need to shine the light on it, get some help. You know, Laurie mentioned Christian counseling, to talk to your pastor. Don't stay in that dark place, but God can heal your heart. He really can if you reach out to him. If you need prayer, that's why that prayer line number is on the screen. We have amazing prayer partners that are standing by. And if you haven't invited Jesus into your heart, that is the most important decision that you can make today. And I always tell the story about my grandpa, who's 19 years old and didn't really know anything about God or how to pray. He just said, God, if you're there, I need you. And God met him right where he was and just changed the destiny of our family. And he will meet you where you are. Just say, Jesus, come into my heart right now. Forgive me. And he will meet you right where you are. Well, I do want to thank Laurie and Sam for joining us. To know more about their ministry, visit fellowshipchurch.com. And as always, make sure to follow us on all social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel for full episodes, exclusive content, and let us know how Table Talk is touching your life. We love hearing from you. And of course, you can also listen to the Joni Table Talk podcast, available now on all the major platforms. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Laurie and Sam.
Thank you.
What a blessing. I'm so excited. Are you going to, is this it? Is it any more after?
I think it's 3 and out for us. I think this is
3 will kind of put you over.
Exactly.
Anyway, all right. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you've been encouraged today. Okay, you hang in there. God's not through with you. He loves you. Call us. If you prayed that prayer, I'll send you the Gospel of John for free. It's just our free gift to you. And we just want to be a blessing to you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for today. Well, you know, there's always more to the story. If today's conversation stirred something in your heart, don't let it end here. Click on the next video to keep growing in faith and truth. And if you haven't yet subscribed, turn on the bell so you never miss a moment. Let's keep pressing in together.